Okay, here is the go section of 3.8. The video is a little long. I don't think you'll need a lot of help on this anyway, so I doubt many people even watch it. We're just double distributing. I am changing my mind as I did this. I was thinking I might do the rectangle boxes on these 3 ones. I wouldn't do them here, but down here I think I might. So we're going to try something new for me. So it's going to be x squared. And then because these are conjugate pairs, I know that these will cancel. Plus square root of 13x minus square root of 13x. So I won't even write it. Minus the square root of 169. When you multiply those, that's x squared minus 13. Some of you like to think of it as the square root of 13 squared, which cancels. That's also fine. Here, x times x is x squared. Conjugate pairs again, so this will cancel, as will this. So then I have a minus. 3 times 3 is 9. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. X squared minus 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 2 for 18. Okay, now these are the ones I said I'm going to do it a little bit different than I usually do because my work was a little sloppy and the like turns and stuff. So I think I'm going to try it with the rectangles and see if I like it better. So I have an x, a minus 4, and a 2i, and an x and a minus 4 and a negative 2i. My daughter's texting me. Okay. So I have a box. I don't even know if it's necessary to write those like that, but it's fine. So this is an x squared, a minus 4x, and this is a 2ix. This will be a minus 4x as well, a plus 16, a negative 8i. So I'm taking the negative 4 times the 2i and getting it here. A negative 2i times the x is a negative 2ix. Negative 2i times negative 4 is a plus 8i. And a negative 2i times a positive 2i is a negative 4i squared. And so then look, 2ix, negative 2ix, plus 8i, negative 8i. And then you can go on the corners. Now this minus 4i squared is minus 4 times negative 1, which is the same thing as plus 4. So my answer on 17 is going to be x squared minus 8x plus 16 plus 4, which is plus 20. Yeah, I kind of like the box. I don't know. It's up to you. I'll show you what I did on this one without the box. See if you decide you like one better than the other. That's an x squared plus 5x minus 3ix. And now I did the 5 plus 5x. I try to stack them with the like terms. Plus 25. Nobody's like that yet. Minus 15i. Now the 3i plus 3ix plus 15i. And the minus 9i squared, which becomes a plus 9 because that's times negative 1. So then I get an x squared plus 10x. These cancel. 25 plus 9 is 34. I don't know, it just seems a little messier in the boxes, but it's up to you. And the last two. X, negative 1, and I. X, negative 1, and negative I. X squared here, if I take the x times the x times negative 1 is a negative x times I is a plus ix. Negative 1 times x is a negative x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1. Negative 1 times I is a negative I. X times I, negative I, is a negative xi. Negative I times 1, negative 1, sorry, is a positive I, and negative I times I is a negative I squared. So plus ix minus ix plus I minus I, and I get, I'll write it here, x squared minus 2x, and this is a plus 1, but this is also a plus 1 because negative 1 is a plus 1, so that becomes a plus 2. Okay, and the last one, that's what I have here, an x, a 10, a negative 2, a negative square root of 2i, an x, a 10, and a positive square root of 2i. So here's the x squared. I'll go down this time. 10 times x is 10x. Square root of 2 times x times I, negative square root of 2xi, 10 times x here. My boxes are so bad. Here's a plus square root of 2xi. So those will cancel. 10 times 10 is 100 in here. 10 root 2i. Here's a minus 10 root 2i. So those cancel. And then here, I got a negative. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. And an I squared. So that's negative 2 times negative 1 becomes a plus 2. So this guy is a plus 2. And I get x squared plus 20x and then 100 plus 2, which is 102. Okay, so that's the multiplying. I think just checking my work would have been enough, but there you go.